Our story begins with Momotsuki Shinya, a first-year high schooler who was having a normal day, until he found a love letter in his locker and his senpai, Kurihara Yuki, confessed to him. Turns out that the girl saw him at the beginning of the year playing with his friends. When he fell into some bushes and his friends mocked him for his cute looks, the girl immediately, though, was love at first sight. So from then on, she started following him, taking pictures of him every time he looked cute. This surprises her friend Norika because she didn't think her friend would have those tastes, as she doesn't stop taking pictures of the cute boy and spies on him every day. Back in the day of the confession, she asked for the boy, her now boyfriend, to accompany her to the bus stop, but thanks to her peculiar habit, she knows everything about him and doesn't have anything to ask him, so they walk in silence. At some point, she decides to take a picture of him, but the boy turns around at the exact moment her flash sounds. To her surprise, he takes a photo of her, thinking that she did it to break the ice between them, and smiles at her, giving the girl the best view of her life. Meanwhile, at the music room of the school, Norika thinks about her friend's relationship but understands that the boy is cute and decides to support her friend's first love. The next day, Yuki is really happy to have gotten the straw her boyfriend used that morning, but her friend asks for her to throw it away as it'd be going too far even for her. Besides, she advises her to leave that bad habit of hers behind as it might be weird for the poor boy. Meanwhile, at the first-year classroom, Momo's friend, Riito, doesn't believe that the cute boy has gotten a girlfriend before him, so he thinks that he's lying, but when their other friend, Shouta, confirms that he saw the boy walk with a girl to school, he starts thinking that she might be ugly or have some sort of problem. However, Sheba explains that he didn't see her face, but in his eyes, she just behaves like a cute, loyal puppy for Momo. Thing that might be more true that he thinks, as in the other classroom the girl struggles not to sniff the straw. The days go by for the flourishing couple, but the boy feels like something is odd, as the girl seems to know things of his day-to-day life that he never told her, and he keeps bumping into her, despite their classrooms not being close enough. Turns out that she's been skipping classes to spy on the cute boy, but one day that he tries to make the first move and say hi to her, she is way too nervous and runs away, not knowing how to react. This makes Momo believe that he has to try to be close to her, so seeing that it has started raining, he tries to go home under her umbrella, but chickens out at the last moment, taking his umbrella out. However, the girl notices, and thinking that he's the type to get his own umbrella, she plans to let hers at home the next day. However, things don't go as planned, as she had to clean the classroom alone after classes, so she got out of school late and had to run to her house under the rain. Midway of the station, the rain gets worse and she has to stop due to not being the most athletic one, but luckily for her, the boy saw her running and went to look for her. But he gets terribly ashamed when he sees that due to the rain, her shirt got transparent. He offers her his jacket, and they walk to the station under the boy's umbrella, making Yuki very happy. The next day, the girl gives her boyfriend his jacket back and takes the chance to invite him to watch a movie with her, so they meet up on the weekend. Momo is so nervous that he got there early, but thanks to Tot, he gives Yuki the perfect chance to take cute pictures of him in his casual clothes from afar. After the movie, he asks her where does she want to go, and the girl definitely wants to go to his house, but thinks that it might be too much. So they end up in a cafeteria. She's sure she knows his taste pretty well, but the boy surprises her ordering things that he doesn't like and forcing himself to eat them. However, she notices and thinks that it's really cute that he wants to act like an addict for her, so she appreciates to find out about this side of him. The next day, the girl is as usual spying on her boyfriend, but this time is a special occasion, as it is his birthday. Norika finds her and gets surprised that her friend is not upset because the boy is surrounded by girls, but she can only be grateful to them because she could see the boy's cute expressions. However, she's sad because she tossed the cake she prepared for him by accident when they met on the street and now doesn't have anything to give him, but her friend explains that even if she gives him the ruined cake, he'd be happy. After classes, they walk together, and she apologizes for not having a present, but Momo, who already told her not to worry about it, grabs her hand and tells her that holding hands is enough gift for him. Although he gets really ashamed after that, and the girl gets utterly happy to see him blushing. The next day, Shouta tells Yuki that her boyfriend is not doing so well with his grade and probably will have to take summer lessons, although he gets surprised to see her in front of the boys' bathroom. At that moment, Momo comes out of the bathroom, also surprised to see her there, but she's able to pass it smoothly, saying that she came to invite them to a study session. So the boy accepts, making Shouta and Yuki high-five. Yuki takes her friend to the study session, but Norika isn't as happy, as she knows that the girl didn't told her where they were going because she knew she'd say no. Riito interrupts them to say that it's a surprise for him to see cute girls in an advanced class, as he thought people there would wear glasses, so he wants to know what does the girl like about his friend. She wants to say that she likes everything about him, but not to look too obsessive. She ends up saying that he liked the fact that he looks cute. This makes the boys laugh, as they also think so because he's short. They end up going to Momo's house for the study session, as his parents are usually out due to work. When they get to the house, the boy goes to the kitchen to get them some drinks, and his girlfriend goes to help, explaining that she got some cake for them. She tells him that his slice is the one with the little heart as a compensation for the cake that she couldn't give him in his birthday. This makes his friends who were listening to the door start to mock the cute boy, implanting the idea of the boy being tasty on the girl's mind. Later on his room, Yuki is helping Shadow with his homework, making Momo wonder when they got so close. Norika notices and thinks that the boy is jealous, but she says it outlasts, making the boy leave the room terribly ashamed. He doesn't know if he's jealous, as he has never been before, but he can recognize that he didn't like seeing them being so close and thinks he's selfish for it. The night arrives and the girls go to buy the stuff for dinner. Yuki is determined to walk to Momo's heart through his stomach, although her friend doesn't think she will with such a simple food as meat with potatoes. Yuki struggles to get the right type of potatoes, so a blonde girl helps her to choose, although the girl is surprised that the prota's girlfriend is not a good cook. However, the girl manages to make a good dinner and goes to the boy's room with the excuse of forgetting something there, but her real intentions are to take pictures of the whole room. She gets distracted and gets in the boy's bed to smell it, but he enters the room to tell her that dinner is ready. He approaches to her because he thinks that she's feeling sick, thing that eases her nervousness and grants her some head pats as the boy likes the position they are in because it makes him look taller than her. The next day, Yuki is happy because she's about to reach 200 pictures in her collection. Norika, although doesn't think she should be happy about being a stalker, asks her what she'd do for the 200th picture. As for when she reached 100, she confesses. So the girl explains that she hopes that they could take a picture together. Meanwhile, we can see that the girl that helped Yuki goes to Momo's class. Her name is Rio and she really appreciates the boy as he showed her kindness and she even joined the tennis club for him. Although he dropped it a few days before she joined, but she couldn't drop because she was too good for the rest of the team to let her go. However, she really cares for the cute boy and refuses to acknowledge the fact that he's taken by Yuki, as he sees him as a really cute and delicate boy, so she thinks that no woman is worthy of him. The exams arrive and the first day the cute boy finishes his classes before his girlfriend, so he decides to invite Rio and her friends to go get some ice cream with his friends as the girl lent him her notes to study for the exam earlier, but this only makes everyone bomb him with questions about Yuki, so he regrets inviting them all. The next day, the tall girl sees how Rio makes fun of Momo for his small size, but she thinks that he's perfect the way and he should stay like that. But after remembering that the day before he felt subconsciously aware of Yuki being older, she starts to wonder what she really feels for the boy. Later, the lovely couple pose together for the picture, but he hugs her, surprising her and making her drop her phone, but as she liked it, they take the picture hugging. After that, Momo is terribly ashamed thinking that he's a for thinking about the girl's softness, but Yuki is on the other side completely obsessed, so she gets into a classroom to take some pictures of him as he walks to his chemistry class. Rio finds her and the girl explains that she liked to take pictures of him without him noticing because he shows expressions to his friends that he doesn't show to her. The tall girl can only agree to it, but this makes Yuki think that the girl understands her obsession and starts telling to her all of the creepy things she does to get to know everything of the boy. She leaves the classroom and Rio finally realizes that the boy is dating a Rio ends up befriending the boy because they have friends in common, making her able to appreciate his cuteness from up close besides of receiving compliments of her high from him, thing that she despises. Momo gets to pass all of his exams and everyone gets close to congratulate him. But the tall girl gets a message from Yuki to meet up after school, and she messages her boyfriend to tell him that they won't be able to walk home together. The boy feels uneasy walking home alone, as everything he sees in the way reminds him of the cute girl. But he then sees the girls enter a cafeteria together, and it makes him feel worried. Turns out that Yuki wanted the tall girl to tell her when the professor finishes his classes so she can take pictures of Momo while he gets from the dressing room to the pool, as there aren't places to hide near it and the swimming classes are different for boys and girls, so she can't be in the same room as her boyfriend. However, Rio doesn't think that she should be taking pictures of him like that and tries to convince her not to, although she doesn't think that she achieved it. Meanwhile, the cute boy is worried about what the two girls were doing, as he doesn't understand what was that so important thing that they have to do alone. But when Yuki asks for him to walk back home with her, he seems to get calmer. Before seeing him, Nokura scolded her friend, asking her not to get the tall girl in the middle of her. Besides, she should just invite him to the pool or the beach if she wanted to see him in a swimsuit as they are dating, so she was to see him confident. Before she could ask him out, she realizes that he has been pretty quiet and asks what's wrong, making the boy ask her what was she doing with Rio. Yuki realizes that he was jealous and gets a nose, so he helps her but pinches her nose a little too hard when she calls him feminine, showing the girl his masculine side, which gets her so happy that she forgets to invite him to the beach. Later that night, Momo calls the girl to invite her to a barbecue at the river with his friends. She gladly accepts, really excited to hear that she might see him in a swimsuit, thing that worries Rio, as she knows what the other girl is thinking. Yuki and Norika go to buy some stuff at the barbecue, but they come across Rio Bio for they could pick a swimsuit, but the tall girl is only there to buy dinner. what surprises the obsessed girl, as she really admired the girl for being such a housewife. When the tall girl leaves, Norika tells her friend that she only does the chores of the house because she lives alone with her dad, which makes the girl ashamed as she thinks that she was rude to the girl. However, she is surprised that her friend knows so much about the younger girl, but she explains to her that the girl is really famous among the first-year's girls for her masculine looks, earning the Prince nickname, although this is not as important for her friend as she only has space in her mind and heart for Momo. The day of the barbecue arrives and Ima, Ryudo's big brother, is surprised that there are so many girls in the group, but his little brother tells him to slow down because he was dumped by his girlfriend recently and he only got the stuff for that day because she left him before they could use them. Yuzuki, one of Ryo's friends, is surprised to see that Yuki is even more beautiful than she expected, and when she asks for Momo's opinion on the girl's outfit, he gets so ashamed that he stands up to go buy some things and his girlfriend follows him, although Ima is jealous of them. Yuzuki forgot some stuff in the car, so she asks Ima for the kids, but after a couple of steps, she stumbles and falls, hurting her knees, so Shouta accompanies her and heals her wounds. Norika is surprised to see how close they are, so she asks Ryudo about it, and he explains that they are cousins, so they've always been together, although this doesn't set up right for her, as they look more like a couple. Later, the lovely couple plays with some bubbles that they bought at the store, and this surprises everyone, as they haven't played with bubbles since they were kids, except for Ryo, who's pretty distracted thinking about her own feelings. After lunch, everyone falls asleep except for Ryo, who's reading a book, and the couple, who go down to the river to get their feet in. Yuki was really sad for not being able to get in the water, and Momo realizes asking if she was looking forward to it. But as the girl can't really tell him that all she wanted was to take pictures of him in a swimsuit, she tells him that she was so excited about it that she even bought a new swimsuit and she won't be able to use it, but she is so nervous that she ends up lifting her dress to show him. Momo gets terribly ashamed and looks the other way but compliments the girl, but due to both kids' nervousness, the conversation drifts away to how feminine are girls' swimsuits. Some days later, Momo gets lost in the summer festival, and to make it worse, his phone dies. Everything begins some hours earlier when the couple met at the festival to spend some time together. He was blown away to see how cute she was in a yukata, and the girl was super happy to see him in casual clothes. Although everything went smoothly for some time as they kept going to different booths, the boy started to slowly realize that Yuki was protecting him from everything, the food, games, even accidents. So thinking about what he could do for the girl not to see him as a little kid, both of them are dragged by a crowd and end up in different points of the place. Then a group of older girls sees him and they approach to take them with him as they think he's really cute. Luckily for him, Ryo and her friends see him before they could take him away, so she goes to his rescue. Although he tells them that he has a girlfriend and they think the tall her is her, they don't seem upset about it. They actually seem excited for her to join them too, but the two kids decide to run away. Momo is surprised to see the girl dressed in manly clothes, so she explains that Yusami's brother didn't want to let them go alone at night, as they could be approached by disgusting guys, but he couldn't accompany them because he had to study for an exam. So she offered to go with men's clothes as their bodyguard, and with her new tan, she definitely looks like a boy. However, Yusami is really happy to see her friend dressed like that, but the boy thinks that she should be wearing a yukata because she'd look better, as after all she's a girl. Yuzuki changes the topic, asking him what happened with Yuki, and he explains how they got separated, but the other girls don't have her number to help him. Ryo thinks about calling her there, but for some reason she chooses to tell them that she'll look for her by her own and for them to look for her together. After she goes away, she texts the girl and they meet up in the temple. Yuki's first impression is her clothing. After she explains what happened, the older girl tells her that she should use the summer break to wear something cute for the boy she likes. Ryo explains to her that she doesn't know if she likes him, as she wouldn't mind if he found a girl who was better than her, but the girl explains to her that what she's feeling is true love. Ryo understands that Yuki is just as honest as Momo, and she really envies that honesty of hers, so she asks for her to keep their conversation private, to what the girl accepts. Then the prono arrives, but he almost falls, being caught by both girls, thing that shames him a lot. As the fireworks explode in the sky and the girls laugh and talk between them, he wonders when did they got so close to each other. Some days later, Momo goes to a cafeteria with his friends to study, and he confesses that he thinks that Yuki doesn't see him as a man, though this is no surprise for them as it is pretty obvious, although it's also obvious for them that the girl is completely into his cute side. He doesn't want him to see him as a kid, although the things he does often make him look like it, so he asks his friend Sif kissing her she'd see him more manly, to which Ryudo answers that he should try and see. The guys think that he's exaggeration as he blushes and lays down on the seat saying that it's too hot in there for him, but then they realize that he actually has a fever, and as Ima can't pick him up, not they can take him to his clinic. Ryudo decides to take his phone and text Yuki to take care of him. Yuki shows up to take care of him despite not wanting to go alone, but as Norika is in a family trip and Ryo is busy with the tennis practice, she had no other choice. However, she realizes that this is the perfect chance to do her stalker thing, as she offers him a thermometer of hers that she plans to make her family heirloom once he uses it, and allowing her to take a look at his bare skin. He apologizes for the message that his friend sent to him. And although she wants to tell him that she liked it so much that she imagined it with his voice, she calms down and tells him not to worry about it. She changes the topic to Ryudo's family clinic, surprised that he's a rich kid, but Momo seems upset and she realizes that he's jealous, which makes her call him cute again. This upsets the boy and he decides to follow his friend's advice, leaning to kiss her, but he collapses midway. She sees that he has a really high fever, so she rushed downstairs to get him some ice and water, but he is upset as he actually collapsed on purpose because he wasn't brave enough to kiss her yet. Meanwhile, his friends can't believe that Momo actually thinks that Yuki doesn't see him as a man, but they decide to let him find out by his own means, as it is funny to see. Back with Yuki, she decides not to be weird that day and take care of her boyfriend the way that he deserves, so she goes to make him some food that Ryudo wrote down for her. When she goes back up, she realizes that his fever got up again. So she places her hand on his forehead and Momo grabs it, almost blowing the girl's mind, but she realizes that it's because her cold hand feels good to his warm skin. So she decides to leave it there and ends up falling asleep until nighttime. Later, Momo wakes up first and nervous to see her next to him, he wakes her up. She's ashamed for drooling in her sleep and leaves quickly, asking for him to eat what she cooked. Later, while he's still awake, he starts to remember how his friend mocked him for not being able to call his girlfriend by her first name like Shouta does with Yuzuki, although they are not a couple and their relationship is special. However, this bugs him and later he decides to ask Yuki to call her by her first name. So both do it but realize that it's too much for them and that they'll do it when they're ready. He then starts to feel the sleep kick in, remembering how happy he felt when she called him Shinya. The days go by and once Momo feels better, they go to the pool to celebrate it, although Usami and Ryo couldn't attend. However, Yuki is way too worried because she ate too much during the summer and now is worried that her bikini won't look good on her, so she sits down in a chair to... Her boyfriend approaches her thinking that she's feeling sick because he passed her cold to her, so Ryudo asks him what he could have possibly done to pass her his cold, although as he was already expecting they didn't do anything. Our protagonist inflates a volleyball, which makes Yuki nervous because now they are playing with a ball carrying her boyfriend's precious breath, so due to her nervousness she hits the ball way too hard, and this breaks when it hits the floor. Momo tries to cheer her up, but that only happens when he tells her that she can keep the ball. After having some fun at the pool, everyone divides to go home and Ryudo orders his friend to walk Yuki home, explaining that he has the perfect chance to take her hand. He's very embarrassed, but she takes his hand, which gets him upset because he's always taking the lead. This starts to worry him a lot because despite being just a year older, she always acts very mature around him, so before the girl could get on the bus, he grabs her hand and asks for her to go somewhere else with him. This takes Yuki by surprise as he's never the one to lead her on. They end up in a park, so they sit in the swings, but an uncomfortable silence catches them and the girl asks him if he wanted to talk about something in particular. Although the only one to spend some more time with her alone, he can't say it, and ends up saying that it was nothing. So taking the chance that they are just hanging out, the girl grabs his hand to check something. She's greatly surprised to see that, although delicate, his hands are stronger than hers. This upsets Momo, so he pulls her closer, almost as if they were going to kiss, explaining that it's not just his hands, but rather all of him, because he's a man. This makes Yuki to get terribly embarrassed and she starts spining on her swing, completely out of herself. But when the chains can't twist anymore, she starts spining to the other side and falls from it, being catched by his boyfriend. Some days later, Norika goes to visit her friend and sees that her friend keeps everything her boyfriend gives to her, no matter if he gives her food, so when she sees a covered cupboard, she tries to see what's there, but her friend gets in front of it. After some struggle, she can see what her friend is hitting, but no words can come out of her when she sees to which levels does her friend reach. She goes to get some trash bags and ties everything with such a strong knot that Yuki can't undo it. However, Norika changes the topic and asks how long has she spent without seeing Momo since the day at the pool. This gets the obsessive girl ashamed and nervous, as she has talked to him over the phone that they haven't met ever since. The group goes back to classes, but Yuki is still looking at her boyfriend while hiding, which makes his friends mock them because it looks like they are flirting at the school. While going home, Momo is worried because he hasn't seen her in the rest of the vacations, so he asks her what happened, but she can't tell the truth, so she says that she had personal problems. Once at home, he calls her to ask again, and she tells him that she was because some stuff that she was collecting was suddenly thrown away, although now she feels beater because she's hearing his voice. The next day, Ryo finds the girl exchanging her boyfriend's eraser for a perfect replica, so she approaches to tell her that she shouldn't. However, from the outside, her friends think that they look like a couple, but her boyfriend thinks that it's just because they are good friends, so he takes Yuki to have lunch outside. On his own, Ryudo has already noticed some of the things the obsessed girl does, so he met up with Norika to talk about it, although he knows he won't get in the middle, because both seem to be fine the way they are. Outside, Yuki gives the boy a photo album with the pictures she took on their trip to the river, which makes Momo really happy, as he doesn't have many pictures of himself, and in compensation for not being able to hang out a lot in summer, he invites her to a theme park that weekend. They have lots of fun and hold hands all day, so reach a certain point, he asks her to which attraction does she want to go, and he's surprised when she mentions the haunted house. Although he's not afraid of ghosts, the ambientation of the place makes him doubt, and the fact that Yuki holds his arm close to her chest makes him nervous, but he tries to be strong for the frightened girl. Suddenly, the lights go out and trying to reach the wall, as she wouldn't let him grab his phone because she's so scared, they stumble and end up in the floor with the girl resting her head on his chest, although it's not like they can change positions because her hair is stuck in one of his buttons. This makes him really happy, because when he tried to hew her at the park the last time, she ran away before he could. Once out, they find out that the only place without lights was the haunted house and they got free tickets, although they don't think that they'll use them. Walking back home, Momo comes across Ryo, who notices that he went on a date with Yuki, but offers to fix his jacket when she sees it's ripped. They walk to a park and he tells her everything they did at the date. Ryo doesn't really know how to react, but when he starts to wonder why she was so happy about the button, she explains that to her they seem to have a distance between them and that they don't know each other pretty well. Although she apologizes right after because she felt bad saying that. However, he tells her not to apologize because she might be right, and he gets surprised for how observant she is, although he thinks that she might be a little jealous. She freaks out when she hears him and quickly tries to explain himself, but Momo thinks she's talking about Yuki, which leaves the girl wondering who she's really jealous of. Some days later, everyone is excited for the school festival. As it is close to October and therefore Halloween, it will hold a costume contest, and the class has decided to have Ryo and Momo as representatives. So the girls want him to dress as something cute, so he'd be opposite to the girl, who will go as a vampire. Liking back home, he talks to Yuki about it, but she already knew, so he explains that Ryo was the one that offered him without asking. He remembers what Ryo said about the distance that is between them, so he tries to make it shorter, although he does it literally, making the girl nervous for uncertainty. The next day, Momo and Ryo talk about the costumes and he tells her that she's cuter than him. Yuki, who is hearing, says that she also thinks so. But worried that she might have misunderstood the topic, the tall girl asks for the boy to explain, but the older girl doesn't seem to even consider jealousy as an option. He thinks that she only acts cool not to bother him, but this bugs him a little. The day of the festival arrives and Yuki gets a professional camera as she's in charge of recording her class event, but she takes it to take good pictures of Momo without being judged. Norika reminds her of her duty and asks her what is her boyfriend going to be dressed as, but she explains that he wanted to keep it a secret, so she allowed him to surprise her for once. The costume contest starts and the first couples pass calmly, but when Ryo and Momo, who's dressed as a cute werewolf, come out, Yuki goes crazy taking photos, although the fans of the tall girl make it difficult to take good shots. The results of the contest were a perfect tea for the first year's couple, so Norika asks her friend what will happen if her boyfriend gets so famous that he doesn't have time for her, and the girl is slightly worried about it. But the first thing Momo does when he sees her is wave at her, calming her down. Then the president of the journalism club asks to take pictures of them that are slightly indecent, asking Ryo to kiss the boy's neck as if she was sucking his blood, although what she really wants is pictures of the tall girl. She apologizes to the boy as the president always does that, and she should only refuse if he's uncomfortable. Momo looks worried at his girlfriend as she might get jealous for it, but when she gives him a thumbs up, he gets really upset. He grabs her by the wrist and takes her to the terrace, asking why she isn't mad if she really likes him. Yuki realizes that he wants for her to show him her affection, so she gathers the courage to tell him how she really feels, but he stops her before as he wants to be the first one to say it. He gathers all of his strength and really blushed and nervous confesses that he really likes her, which gets the juror embarrassed, but also brave. So she confesses that she collects his things because he likes him a lot, just like the tissue that he had on his hand. But rather than going well, this leaves Momo without words, even asking her to repeat herself as he can't believe what he's hearing. The next day, Yuki is too embarrassed for what happened and is really nervous to go back home with Momo, but she's relieved when he doesn't say anything about it. As they got up early, he invites her to an arcade, as he thinks that she's a giller that spends her free time cooking and sewing, although she's terrible at it, and he knew it, he was just pranking her. A cute bear plushie calls the girl's attention, so he decides to try the claw game to get it for her. She's surprised because she thinks that he's good at those games and because she didn't know it, but he explains that he isn't. He just wanted to make her happy by giving her the plushie. Although it took him a long time to get the plushie, he ends up whining it, and when she tries to bring her obsession topic to the table, he explains that he's no one to judge her, as he often finds himself thinking of her and wondering how clothes or accessories that he sees would look on her, so he grabs the plushie and places his mouth on the exact place the girl was, gifting her an indirect kiss. The next day, Ryo congratulates him for starting to call the girl by his first name, and Usami also does it, patting his head, although they won't let it get to his head as he doesn't think is that complicated, and he demonstrates it calling Yuzuki by her name, thing that gets her terribly ashamed. Meanwhile, Yuki is still on cloud 9, and Norika is pretty surprised that being that dumb, she's still good at school. At lunch, the girl made some homemade meal for Momo. He notices her so he really appreciates the meal, although he's worried because it's all of his favorite food, thing that he never told her, but he decides not to ask her where does she get her information from, as he likes the fact that his girlfriend knows him so well. Later, due to a change of classrooms, he sees Usami's big brother talking with Yuki and gets jealous, although he tells his friends that he isn't a thing that they don't buy. Although Rihito is kinda worried about him, he's more worried about Shouta, as he isn't as easy to read as the small boy. Yuzuki also notices it and tries to see what's wrong with him, but the boy tries to ease her with lies, thing that doesn't work with her because she knows everything about him. Back with Yuki, she meets up again with Usami's brother as she trades him pictures of his sister for information about Momo's schedule. What she doesn't know is that her boyfriend has been spying on them, and when Usami's brother tries to get some thread out of her hair, Momo slaps his hand and takes the girl out of there, asking for the older boy not to touch his girlfriend. Walking back home, Yuki tires to explains that the boy is just a friend, but the cute boy asks if all of her friends touch her head, although the girl answers that all of his friends pat his head, so he has no argument to debate it. The winter arrives with the final exams on its back, and the kids go back with the study sessions at Momo's place as he's again having problems with his grades. Yuki and Norika go to heat up lunch, and Rihito complains at his friend, as he went back to call his girlfriend by her last name, and she even made a Gupla Christmas party despite it being a holiday that is often for couples, so he suggests he has a more aggressive approach to her, so they finally start acting like a couple, but the cute boy is terribly ashamed to just think of it. Some days later, Yuki goes to Ryo's house so she can teach her to sew so she can make a present for her boyfriend, but she's plainly terrible at it and her teddy bear looks more like an alien than anything. Although this washes off quickly when she realizes that the girl also wants to make Momo dolls for herself. When the big day arrives, everything is a mess as Momo fails his exams, asking him to take extra classes, and Yuki gets sick and has to stay in bed. This is terrible for her, as she had everyone to help make a perfect party and she make a huge effort, so Norika tires to calm her down by saying that her boyfriend couldn't have attended anyways, but it doesn't work. So she texts the boy in secret to give her Fire-It Christum's present that could cheer her up. While he heads there, she asks why did she plan a group play event, and the girl explains that she rather see Momo smile while surrounded by fire-ants, as it's that the Ryaos, she fell in love with him. Norika needs to leave because the boy is close, but before she leaves, Yuki tells her to grab her present from the shelf, a pair of sewed gloves that she couldn't give her for her birthday, although they are missing a finger and the length is not the right one. However, she decides to take them anyways, cherishing her best friend's gift, and leaves, meeting Momo at the entrance. She rushes him inside and he's nervous to know that his girlfriend doesn't know he'd be there, but gets to her room anyways. There, Yuki is ashamed because she's still on her pajamas and her hair is a mess, but she still wants the boy to stay with her. He gives her a Christmas present, and this gets her utterly happy, but also pretty sad because she couldn't finish his gift in time. So the boy tells her to give him the same as she did in his birthday, and he tells her that he'll hold her hand until she falls asleep. The girl is sound asleep in a matter of seconds, and he starts realizing how tired she must be after helping him in the party preparations. He sees her lips and starts to get close to his face, but luckily or sadly for him, his hair touches the girl's nose, making her sneeze and making him go back to his senses. Some days later, the lovey couple goes on a date, where Momo takes the chance to invite her to the hot springs that Shouta and Yuzuki's relatives run, and since they are friends, they'll get a discount. Yuki is really excited to go, and the boy is happy about it, since he didn't want to go without her. When they arrive, the first thing the obsessive girl does is go to see if there's a peephole in the bathrooms, but is terribly disappointed that there isn't. The boys are surprised to see that she has already taken a bath while the other girls are just hanging around, but they are only thinking about chilling. While the rest goes to look for the other girls, they stay and Yuki is excited to see the snow. Momo says that he likes the snow, but the both of them get ashamed because Yuki means snow. But the girl tells him that she also likes it, so they are now even. Later, she and Norika get in the water so the girl can calm down, as she's on the class for hearing her boyfriend saying that he likes her. Meanwhile, the rest of the girls surround Momo and have a girls' meeting where he's a special guest despite being a man. Ryo tries to calm them down because if the girl sees them, she might get jealous. But this makes the boy sad, as he knows she wouldn't. Yuzuki realizes that there's something he's not telling them, so she tries to force him to tell and Yuki enters just at that moment, seeing them really close. To the contrary of what everyone would think, a girl thinks that they look really cute together and tries to take a picture of them, but the boy gets upset and leaves. This makes his girlfriend have a small crisis. Momo is thinking that she might not have the same feeling as him, although he recognizes that he might have exaggerated with his reaction. Yuki finds him and apologizes for whatever that she did that might have upsetted him, but the boy takes her to talk to a private room. With her feet on the water, he explains that he accepted to date her without thinking much about it. But now that she's been doing things for him and taking care of him, he's sure that he loves her, so he asks what are her real feelings for her. The girl starts crying and tries to stand, but slips, falling on top of him. However, she hugs him thigh and explains that she loves everything about him. The fact that he's small, his smell, his clothes, the things he throws away, and the little expressions that he makes. She thinks that he'll be disgusted by her affection, but the boy understands that she might be a little and that they have different ways to show their affection, regardless if she gets or not jealous. So he kisses her cheek, and both get terribly blush, although he was aiming for her lips. From then on, Momo is more careful with the things that he lends to the girl, explaining that trash is trash, and that he won't fall for her tricks again. It is there, surrounded by friends, that the both of them realize that despite being different and having different love languages, they love each other equally.